Have you ever found yourselves in that quiet space, that almost deafening silence, with someone you once shared every thought, every dream, every tiny detail of your day with? You look across the room, or maybe even across the dinner table, and wonder, how did we get here? How did two people who once couldn't stop talking, whose words tumbled over each other in their eagerness to connect, end up sitting in this vast, unspoken expanse? It's a profoundly human experience, this slow, almost imperceptible drift, and it can feel incredibly isolating, even a little shameful, as if we've somehow failed at the most important connection. Today, we're not just going to tiptoe around this tender subject, we're going to lean into it with courage and curiosity. We're exploring why this happens, why married couples, partners in life can sometimes grow apart over time. We'll look at the subtle shifts, the unexamined habits, the quiet erosions of connection. But more importantly, much more importantly, we're going to talk about how to prevent it, how to consciously and intentionally choose connection day after day. We're going to explore the pathways back to each other, or perhaps how to ensure we never lose that path in the first place. Because here's the truth, the one that resonates deep in our bones: marriage, partnership, it's meant to be a journey together. It's about navigating the complexities of life hand in hand, heart to heart, not slowly drifting into separate orbits. It's about fostering a space where both individuals can grow, certainly, but grow towards each other, not away. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding and empowerment. It's about choosing to cultivate a relationship that thrives, not just survives. It's a funny thing, isn't it? When we first fall in love, when we're courting, or in those early heady days of commitment, we're often on our best behavior. We say please and thank you for the smallest things. We open doors. Not just literally, but metaphorically. We open doors to conversation, to consideration. We listen intently. We make an effort to show appreciation, to acknowledge the other person's presence and their contributions, no matter how minor. These small courtesies are like the daily watering of a plant. They seem insignificant on their own, but collectively they sustain life and vibrancy. But then, time happens. Life happens. Familiarity settles in, and while familiarity can breed comfort, a beautiful, safe, wonderful comfort, it can also, if we're not mindful, breed a kind of casual disregard. The thank you for making coffee becomes assumed. The how was your day really gets shortened to a grunt. We might interrupt more, listen less, or forget to acknowledge the little efforts that once made our hearts swell. It's rarely malicious, this fading of courtesies. It's often an unconscious slide, a byproduct of shared routines and the mistaken belief that the other person just knows we appreciate them, or just knows we still see them. The thing is, respect isn't just for strangers or new acquaintances. It's the bedrock of all enduring relationships. When those small acts of kindness and acknowledgement begin to disappear, what we're subtly communicating, often without realizing it, is that the other person or their efforts are being taken for granted. And being taken for granted is a lonely, often invisible wound. It chips away at a person's sense of value within the relationship. Maintaining kindness, consciously choosing to say I appreciate you doing that, or thank you for listening, these are not just pleasantries. They are active affirmations of respect and love. They are the threads that keep the tapestry of connection strong and vibrant. So I invite you to think, really think, about the daily interactions. Are the small courtesies still present? Is there an intentionality behind your appreciation? It takes courage to stay mindful in the mundane, to resist the pull of autopilot. It requires us to show up, to be present, and to choose kindness, even when we're tired, even when it's easier to just let it slide. This isn't about grand, sweeping gestures. It's about the quiet, consistent practice of seeing, acknowledging, and valuing the person we share our life with in all the small, everyday moments. Because those moments, they add up to a lifetime of connection or a slow, painful drift into disconnection. Have you ever felt that pressure building inside? That simmering pot of unspoken frustrations, disappointments, or even just small annoyances that you tell yourself aren't worth bringing up? It's a common human tendency, especially in long-term relationships, to want to avoid conflict, to keep the peace. We think, oh, it's not a big deal, or I don't want to start an argument. So we swallow it, we push it down, we bottle it up, telling ourselves we're being the bigger person, or that it will just go away on its own. But here's a truth I've learned from years of research and countless stories. Emotions don't just disappear, they fester. When we consistently choose to bottle up our feelings, especially the difficult ones, We create an invisible wall between ourselves and our partner. Each unexpressed frustration becomes another brick in that wall. It might start small, a minor irritation here, a slight disappointment there. But over time, that wall can grow so high and so thick that genuine connection becomes almost impossible. What's more, these unspoken emotions often leak out in other, less healthy ways: sarcasm, passive aggression, withdrawal, or even an inexplicable irritability that leaves our partner confused and hurt because they don't know the root cause. The courage to engage in honest, vulnerable communication is absolutely paramount. And let me be clear, honest communication is not about blaming, shaming, or attacking. It's about owning our feelings and expressing our needs in a way that invites understanding, not defensiveness. It's saying, "I feel hurt when this happens," rather than "you always make me feel hurt." It's about speaking our truth, even when our voice shakes, even when we're afraid of the response. Because the alternative, the silence, the bottling up, is far more dangerous to the relationship in the long run. It breeds resentment, misunderstanding, and a profound sense of aloneness, even when you're living under the same roof. So how do we cultivate this kind of brave communication? It starts with self-awareness, recognizing what we're feeling and why. Then, it's about choosing a time to talk when you're both relatively calm, not in the heat of the moment. Use I statements. Focus on the behavior, not on labeling the person. And crucially, be willing to listen, truly listen, to your partner's perspective, even if it's hard to hear. This isn't about being right, it's about being understood and understanding in return. It's about dismantling that wall, brick by brick, and creating a space where both partners feel safe enough to be truly seen and heard. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment in a disagreement where something shifts. It's no longer about understanding each other or finding a solution. It's about winning. It's about proving our point, being right, and making sure our partner knows they are wrong. Our defenses go up, our voices might get louder, and we start marshaling our arguments like soldiers preparing for battle. In these moments, our partner can feel less like a beloved companion and more like an adversary. And when our primary goal in a conflict is to win, the relationship always loses. This drive to be right, to win the argument, often stems from a place of ego, or perhaps a deeper fear of being invalidated or misunderstood. But when we dig our heels in, refusing to see our partner's perspective, we shut down the possibility of empathy. Empathy is that incredible human ability to step into someone else's shoes, to try and feel what they're feeling, to understand their experience even if we don't agree with their conclusion. Without empathy, disagreements escalate. They become power struggles, leaving both partners feeling unheard, resentful, and disconnected. The focus shifts from us against the problem to me against you. The truth is, in a healthy, thriving partnership, the goal of a disagreement shouldn't be victory, but resolution and deeper understanding. It requires us to have the courage to be vulnerable, to admit when we might be wrong, or at least to acknowledge the validity of our partner's feelings and perspective. It means valuing the relationship more than our need to be right. This is hard work. It goes against so much of our conditioning that tells us to fight for our position. But the rewards, a stronger connection, increased trust, and a more peaceful home, are immeasurable. So how do we shift from this me versus you dynamic? It starts with a conscious choice. The next time a disagreement arises, try to pause, take a breath. Remind yourself that this person is your partner, not your opponent. Listen more than you speak. Ask clarifying questions like, "Help me understand why you feel that way," instead of launching into a rebuttal. Look for common ground, for areas of agreement, however small. And remember, compromise isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and a deep commitment to the well-being of the relationship. It's about finding a solution that works for us, not just for me. We often hear that actions speak louder than words, and there's a profound truth to that, especially in our closest relationships. Yet sometimes we fall into the trap of assuming our love is so obvious, so deeply understood, that it no longer needs to be actively expressed. We might think, of course they know I love them. I married them, didn't I? Or I work hard for this family, isn't that enough? But love, my friends, is not a static state, it's a verb. It's an ongoing practice. It needs to be nurtured, shown, and yes, spoken, regularly and intentionally. Think about it. When was the last time you truly, thoughtfully, expressed your love and appreciation for your partner? Not just in a fleeting love ya as you rushed out the door, but in a way that genuinely landed. Small gestures, a cup of tea made just the way they like it, a note left on the counter, a heartfelt compliment, holding their hand while watching television, or simply taking the time to truly listen without distraction. These are the daily deposits into the emotional bank account of your relationship. When these expressions dwindle, the account can feel overdrawn, leaving one or both partners feeling unseen, unvalued, and unloved, even if, deep down, the love is still there. The impact of these small, consistent expressions of affection and appreciation cannot be overstated. They are the lifeblood of connection. They communicate care, thoughtfulness, and a sense of being cherished. When we fail to make these gestures, or when our words of love become rote or non-existent, a void can begin to form. Our partners might start to wonder if we still see them, if we still desire them, if we still value their presence in our lives. This isn't about needing grand romantic displays every day, but about the consistent, gentle rain of small affections that keeps the soil of the relationship fertile and alive. So I want to encourage you, really lean into this. How can you more actively and intentionally express your love, both in words and actions, starting today? It might be as simple as a specific compliment, like, "I really appreciated how you handled that stressful situation today," or a physical gesture like a longer hug. It could be taking on a chore you know they dislike, just because. It's about being present enough to notice what makes your partner feel loved and seen, and then having the courage and commitment to offer that, freely and generously. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, an action, a promise renewed each day through our words and our deeds. So, as we've journeyed through these common pitfalls, the fading courtesies, the bottled emotions, the competitive arguments, and the unspoken love, I hope what's become clear is that growing apart doesn't have to be an inevitable chapter in our love stories. It's not some mysterious force that randomly pulls couples in different directions. More often than not, it's the result of unintentional neglect, of small, unexamined habits that erode connection over time. But the beautiful, empowering truth is that with awareness, with intention, and with a courageous commitment to care, you can absolutely keep your connection strong, vibrant, and deeply fulfilling. This work, this practice of staying close, it requires showing up. It requires vulnerability. It requires choosing your partner and your relationship over and over again, in the small moments and the big ones. It's about daring to have the tough conversations, daring to express love openly, daring to be kind even when you're tired, and daring to see your partner as your teammate, not your opponent. It's not always easy, but the depth of connection, the joy, and the security that come from a consciously nurtured relationship are worth every ounce of effort. Now, I'm curious, and I'd love for us to learn from each other. Which of these habits, these areas we've talked about, resonates most with you today? Which one feels like a space where you could bring a little more intention, a little more courage? Let us know in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your commitments. And if this conversation sparked something in you, please don't forget to share this video with someone who might need to hear it, someone you care about, because fostering connection in our own lives and in the lives of others is some of the most important work we can do.